Many people are surprised to learn that there is no law regulating abortion in Canada, no law whatsoever. Our governments regulate almost everything in our lives, including such ridiculous things like plastic straws. But there is a complete legal void when it comes to killing onboard human beings. How did we get there? In 1988, in a decision involving abortion Dr. Henry Morgan Taylor, the Supreme Court declared existing abortion provisions in the criminal code unconstitutional. However, it did not declare a constitutional right to abortion and left the door open for a new law that would regulate it. The Mulroney government tried and failed to adopt such a law. No other government has tried since. The Conservatives did nothing for 35 years. Because of this legal void, there is no legal obstacle in Canada to have an abortion at any stage of the pregnancy, including up to minutes before a child is born. Yes, it is perfectly legal to kill a fully developed onboard baby during the third trimester of a pregnancy, a baby who would be viable if born prematurely. When you raise this issue, people will say that it may be technically legal, but that it never happens except in very rare circumstances when the child has fatal deformities or the life of the mother is threatened. That's simply not true. Although statistics are hard to obtain because of their controversial nature, we know that such late-term abortions happen in Canada. In a rare article discussing this issue published in the Montreal newspaper La Presse in 2019, it was revealed that more than 20 Quebec women were sent every year to the few clinics in the US offering late-term abortions without restrictions. The Quebec government covered all the cost. Given the growing debate in the US, which culminated in the repeal of the Roe versus Wade by the Supreme Court last year, Quebec health authorities were saying at the time that they wanted to repatriate these services and provide them in Quebec. That was difficult because extremely few doctors are willing to perform such abortions for obvious ethical reasons. If more than 20 late-term abortions with both the mother and child in good health are practiced in Quebec alone, just in the province of Quebec alone, every year, there must be more than that in all of our country. I find this abhorrent. It is the same as allowing infanticide. Whether they are few or many is irrelevant anyway. A murder is a murder and it should be criminal. You cannot argue that it's my body, my choice in such cases. There is another body, another sentient human being involved, almost fully developed. Freedom is one of my core values, as you know, but it doesn't include supporting the freedom of a mother to kill her fully developed baby before or after it is born. All other civilized countries including all the so-called progressive countries in Europe, have laws determining when a fetus should be protected as a person, and when and in what circumstances abortion should be therefore be restricted. Most have restrictions starting in the second trimester, and late-term abortions are not allowed anywhere. In countries such as Germany, Belgium, Denmark, Czech Republic, Greece, Hungary, Italy, Ireland, Norway, Finland, and Switzerland, abortion is available for the first 3 months of a pregnancy only, after which it is either banned or only allowed in exceptional circumstances. It is time to join the civilized world. It's time to stop listening to hysterical feminists who have hijacked this issue for too long. The other establishment parties either fully support abortion at all stages of a pregnancy, or they are too afraid of pro-abortion activists to raise the issue. We are not afraid. The PPC welcomes a debate on abortion. Regulating abortion is not a fringe or radical position, even though it is portrayed as such by pro-abortion fanatics. An Angus Reid poll from January 2020 found that 51% of Canadians, yes, I'm saying 51%, believe that there should be a law prohibiting abortion during the third trimester unless the life of the mother is in danger. Other polls give even higher numbers. These millions of Canadians need to be represented in the House of Commons. Today, they are not. They are certainly not represented by the fake conservatives. Even alleged pro-life conservative MPs are not allowed by their leader to debate this issue. Pierre Poilievre has repeatedly said he is pro-choice and he does not want to reopen this debate. The Conservative Party has a policy on abortion, and I quote from their policy, "A conservative government will not support any legislation to regulate abortion." End of quote. Whether your position on abortion, the most important thing now is to break the taboo surrounding this issue. We need to force the cowardly establishment in Ottawa to debate it. We must push them in a corner and force them to explain why they believe killing a healthy unborn child at 7 months is morally acceptable and should remain legal. They won't be able to because it is objectively abhorrent. That is why today I'm announcing that if elected MP for Portage Lisgar, I will table at the first available opportunity the Protection of Preborn Children Act, a private member's bill to amend Section 287 of the Criminal Code. The bill would limit the legal availability of abortion to 24 weeks maximum and outlaw late-term abortions unless the mother's life or health are at risk. There has been a rape or abuse, or if the baby has a lethal abnormality or no brain function. I cannot imagine how any decent human being could be opposed to this. Even reasonable people who describe themselves as pro-choice should support this bill. When they are asked about late-term abortion, they almost never defend it because they know it is indefensible. Instead, they claim that it never happens, which is not true, like I mentioned already. I am aware that not everybody will be satisfied with this bill. Many people would prefer stronger restrictions, such as those in most European countries, and I agree that we should debate them too. But we need to start somewhere, and from a position that is so strong that our opponents won't be able to reject it or attack it without looking like depraved individuals with no moral conscience. So, Mr. Poilievre, I dare you to answer this question. Do you believe that killing a healthy onboard child at 7 months is morally acceptable and should remain legal? If not, why do you refuse to reopen this debate? Why do you support infanticide? Millions of Canadians believe we have a moral obligation to reopen this debate. And without a PPC MP in the House of Commons, it will never happen and nothing will ever change. That is why I'm calling on the people of Portage-Lisgar who want to have this debate to vote for me on June 19. I am not the author of this bill. It was written and proposed by two of our outstanding and courageous PPC candidates in the 2019 general election, Paul Mitchell and Laura-Lynn Thompson, who is here with me today. Now, I'm very pleased, and I want Laura-Lynn to say a few words about the bill and why everybody should support it and support the PPC. Thank you. Laura-Lynn?
Thank you so much, Maxime. It is an absolute honor. Thank you. I'm a little bit shorter than Maxime. It is an absolute honor to be here to see the courage that is being shown. For several decades now, even myself, my children have been raised in a Canada that did not support the protection of the unborn. This is a deep held belief and value that I hold to in Canada. But my representatives and my politicians and the people that have been elected to protect life and to protect my views and to protect religious freedom have not done so. And that is especially true of the Conservative Party of Canada. I'd like to read to you a scripture. It's called Jeremiah. It's in Jeremiah 1:5. It says, "Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart, and I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." What does this mean? It means that God, under the sovereignty of God, is how our Charter of Rights and Freedoms was formed. And the Honorable Brian Peckford said that was under the Judeo-Christian God. But in Canada, we honor all people of religious persuasions, and most people, including Muslims, including Sikhs, honor the protection of life. Yet Canada continues to say nothing about it. There's one more scripture, Psalms 139, 13 to 16. "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes, God, saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. I want to give you a little bit of history in why I am so very grateful that there is the most courageous politician in all of Canada, Maxime Bernier. He has been the most courageous for over 3 years now, probably close to 4 years. But it seems that it has gone unnoticed because the woke culture has taken over. I'll tell you something. When I first tried to run for the Conservative Party of Canada, I was rejected because I stood against the transitioning of minors. I could not run for a Conservative Party because they would not have anyone that spoke against this. They also then began to ice out and delete any candidate that was pro-life. This became an ongoing issue in the last few years. Candidate after candidate after candidate has been taken out of the run to be an MP in the Conservative Party of Canada. I've watched it happen. My friends have watched it happen. We have been distraught at our nation's refusal to protect the unborn. So I look back over our history, and the reason that myself and Paul Mitchell wanted to put forward any kind of bill, and Maxime Bernier recognized the need for it, was because in our country there is not one law protecting the children. That is an abomination. And if we are truly a nation under the sovereignty of God, like our Charter of Rights and Freedom states, then why do we disregard life so easily? And so when I watched Stephen Harper become the leader of our country, he said he was pro-life. He had the full rights to do anything he wanted. I think that we call this, he had, a majority. Thank you very much, Maxine. He had a majority and he did nothing about it. I honor the incredible Candice Bergen, former MP of this riding. She was pro-life. I love her values. But what has happened is that nothing has been put forward for the protection of life. Why? Because the Conservative Party of Canada refuses, even in their documents, refuses to honor the protection of the unborn. As I briefly close, I'd like you to know that I attended, before I was brought on as a PPC member and had the honor to run against Jagmeet Singh, I attended a CPC convention in 2018 where you got to put forward all kinds of bills. So there was a group that really wanted to put forward a bill to protect the unborn. Here's what happened. I was in a private room there. A whole bunch of people were there. They waited till it was practically the last bill to be put forward for a motion to vote on it. And it almost didn't get through. Then when it got through so that we could vote on it in the large assembly, I would say there was about 3,000 people there. Would I be able to get my water from right down there? Thank you so much. I would say that there was about 3,000 people there. And what happened was we were getting ready to vote, and Lisa Raitt got up and she informed everyone that Andrew Scheer, who I believed had said he was pro-life, did not want us to have this issue brought forward. You might remember that Andrew Scheer was dogged mercilessly by the media, asking him if he was pro-life, asking him if he would do anything about abortion. But because of his cowardice, he would not speak to this issue. Because of the cowardice of every leader of the Conservative Party of Canada for decades, we have not been able to find any protection for the unborn. And so I say to you today, as a Canadian, are you willing to continue to compromise? Are you willing to continue to vote in leaders who say one thing and do another? They will not do anything. Candice Bergen, she was pro-life. She never tabled a bill. She did not stand for the protection of the unborn. Why? It's not necessarily her fault. It's just that she's under the leadership of a party that will not allow these things to be done. It is time for courage. It is time for cowards to be put aside. We are in a war that we do not know that we are in. We are in a culture war. We have defied the protection of children, and we have become politically correct, and we have allowed the unborn to pay the price. In days of old, there were people like those who served the god of Moloch, who would sacrifice living children to this god. Our version of sacrificing children has been that we will not say a word for the protection of the unborn. I am so grateful and so very, very proud to stand with Maxime Bernier. There is no one like him in this country. He has been dogged by the press. He has been put down for some of his beliefs. And yet I have seen polls much higher than 51% that would protect the unborn, especially late-term abortion. And so I ask you if you would be at a point where you would consider that the People's Party of Canada is really the party that should be leading this country. We begin here in Portage, Lisker, a tremendously beautiful place that honors life, that honors family values. And I'm very, very grateful to say that I stand with Maxime Bernier. And if this riding would give Ottawa a message that you cannot continue to ignore the principles that Canada was founded on, if this riding would seize the day, we potentially can see our Canada turned around. May God keep us glorious and free. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Laura-Lynn. I'm very proud and happy that you are supporting me and you are allowing me to table your bill. In 2019, it's time to have something in Ottawa. And like you said, nothing will happen. We need to have a strong voice, and that's the PPC voice. So we are ready to take some questions. On est prêt à prendre quelques questions. Yeah, I cannot hear the question. Travis, can you open the floor?
Yes, we have the first question here from
Okay. I cannot hear the question.
Est-ce que vous m'entendez maintenant?
Ah oui, là, je vous entends. Merci, allez-y.
OK, parfait, merci beaucoup. Vous avez dit tout à l'heure que le projet de loi ne satisferait pas tout le monde, que plusieurs vont dire que c'est pas le débat doit aller plus loin, et que vous êtes d'accord avec eux. Vous avez dit qu'il faut commencer quelque part. Jusqu'où seriez-vous prêt à aller dans ce débat-là?
Bien, vous avez raison de dire que c'est une question d'ouvrir le débat. Ça fait 35 ans qu'on n'a pas eu de loi de législation à Ottawa. Et après toutes ces années, il faut réouvrir le débat. Et c'est pour ça que je mets au défi Pierre Poilievre de nous dire s'il est pour le meurtre des enfants non nés au dernier trimestre et pourquoi qu'il est contre la ouverture de ce débat-là. Ça, c'est le projet de loi, c'est tangible, c'est ce qu'on présente. Et oui, je l'ai dit tout à l'heure, tous les pays civilisés en Europe ont des lois qui restreignent l'avortement au deuxième trimestre ou parmi le deuxième trimestre. Et j'aimerais vous inviter à relire, s'il vous plaît, le jugement Morgentaler de 1988. Et les juges à l'époque dissidents et les juges de la majorité ont tous dit que le Parlement doit légiférer sur l'avortement et ont même dit qu'un moment idéal serait aux alentours du deuxième trimestre. Donc, nous, on commence avec le dernier trimestre. Donc, on dit après 6 mois, l'avortement doit être interdit à moins que la vie de la mère ou de l'enfant est en danger, comme c'est bien écrit dans le projet de loi. Puis, on veut rouvrir le débat et lorsqu'on réouvre le débat, bien, il y a des discussions en comité parlementaire et j'aimerais que le Canada fasse partie des pays civilisés pour avoir une réglementation qui respecte la vie et c'est ce qu'on ne fait pas ici au Canada depuis 35 ans. Travis, another one?
That is all the questions we have for the board.
Yeah, I will repeat my answer in English. So the question was, if I'm tabling that bill, and I said that all the civilized countries have legislation that is restricting abortion in the second trimester. And so why I'm tabling a bill where we have a restriction only for the late-term abortion? The answer to that is very simple. We need to reopen that debate. After 35 years, we didn't have any debate in our country. So I want to ask Pierre Poilievre, why are you supporting the killing of unborn babies after 6 months? And you may understand that a mother will have 6 months to decide if she will have an abortion or not. So we are tabling this bill because we want to reopen the debate. We want to have these discussions in the House. And I'm asking Pierre Poilievre why he's ready to kill unborn babies after 6 months. Why he doesn't want to reopen the debate after 35 years when the Supreme Court of Canada, in that decision in 1988, the majority of the judges and the dissident judges said that we must have that debate and that must start at the second trimesters. So our bill is to open the debate and we will have this discussion. But my dream is that Canada be back with the civilized countries like in Europe. Like I said in my speech, all these countries in Europe are regulating abortion during the second trimesters. And that will be great if we can have that in our country. But please, we must start somewhere and we must start there because I believe that our opponent cannot say no to that, legislation. So the legislation is there, you can read it, and I hope that in our country, we will be able to protect the life of an unborn baby. So I just repeat my answer that I did in French, sorry. And now, if there's another question, Travis, I don't know.
Encore les Bergeron, j'avais une autre question pour vous. En 2019, durant la campagne électorale, êtes-vous pas d'accord que M. Scheer, sa réponse sur l'avortement au débat de face-à-face, ça lui a nuit? Et si oui, pourquoi cette différence dans le cas qui vous concerne, là, pourquoi vous, ça ne vous nuira pas?
Parce que je pense que lorsqu'on explique ça, on explique ce dossier-là avec les faits historiques, les faits basés sur les autres pays, on est capable de gagner le débat. M. Scheer et M. Poilievre ne sont pas des leaders et ils n'ont pas de conviction. Et ils ont même peur de parler du mot avortement, abortion in English. They won't say that. They're so afraid of the mainstream media and also the radical leftist feminists that they don't want to have any debate. So why you asking the question, and tu vous demandez la question, pourquoi que ça le nuit à M. Scheer dans l'élection de 2019? Parce qu'il n'est pas un leader, parce qu'il n'a pas voulu parler du sujet en profondeur comme je l'ai fait ce matin. Et moi, ce n'est pas mon problème. Nous, on est là pour débattre le gros bon sens et des politiques. Lorsque je dis que 51% des Canadiens, c'est un minimum, Angus Reid, sont d'accord avec notre position, bien, justement, les conservateurs font de la politique sans aucune conviction. Et c'est pour ça que je vous demande à vous, journalistes, d'aller demander à Poilievre pourquoi qu'il est pour qu'au Canada, un des seuls pays dans le monde développé, est d'accord avec des meurtres qui se passent, au moins 20 meurtres par année au Québec. C'est difficile d'avoir ces statistiques-là. Donc, il y en a beaucoup plus à travers le pays. Et ne dites-moi pas que ça n'existe pas, que c'est juste théorique, c'est pratique. Le gouvernement du Québec l'a confirmé lorsque je l'ai dit tout à l'heure. Donc, pourquoi M. Poilievre ne veut pas réouvrir le débat? C'est à lui de répondre à la question. Mais nous, on a toujours fait de la politique basée sur des principes avec des convictions fortes. Et je dis à tous les Canadiens qui veulent avoir une solution dans ce débat-là, le seul choix qu'ils ont, c'est de voter pour le Parti populaire. Et d'ailleurs, ce n'est pas nouveau. Laura-Lynn, durant l'élection de 2019, a dit aux gens dans son comté, votez pour moi, ça c'est le projet de loi que je vais présenter. Donc, on est sérieux, on veut avoir le débat avec ces Canadiens qui sont pour le culte de la mort. Nous, on est pour le culte de la vie. In English, I think the question was why Mr. O'Toole didn't fight about abortion and why, it was he didn't want to speak about it during the election of 2019 and why Poilievre didn't want to speak about that. I said it's not you must ask them. That's why I did that press conference. But, that is showing me that the Conservative Party of Canada is a fake Conservative Party. They don't have any conviction. They're not ready to fight for life. After 35 years, it's time to have that debate and reopen that debate. And it is that bill that we are tabling today. And if I'm elected, that bill will be tabled in the House as soon as possible. It is the only ethical, moral, and human position that you can have on abortion. So I'm asking the feminist, radical leftists why they will support killing an unborn baby after 6 months. Yeah. I want our country to be back in the civilized world. And that's why I'm tabling that bill. And I want to have a discussion. And I know if we table that bill, it will be very difficult for our opponents to vote against that bill. That will be the first step. That's what I'm saying. And my dream is that we can be like these European countries. Yeah, look at everything that I said the last 5 years when we created the People's Party of Canada. Is it being a fake conservative to call for a balanced budget because a conservative won't balance a budget in 1 year? Is it to be a fake conservative to say that, there's no climate hysteria and we must not impose any taxes or regulation on businesses? Is it a fake conservative to fight for life? It is not. And I will ask him back, where was he during all this time? I believe that he's an MP elected, for a long time, and he didn't have the courage to be a real conservative. So I like when they are attacking me because, they're afraid. They're afraid of us. They're afraid of the common sense, and I'm not. So I'm looking forward to have this debate on that bill in the House. So the last question, another one. Okay, I want to thank you, everybody. Thank you, Laura-Lynn. And I want to say to the people here in Portage-Lisgard, I'm there for you, and I will always fight for your values and for the family values. Thank you. Have a nice day.
It's not easy to deliver the truth of what our sick world is doing, but for some of us, we feel that we have no choice. Because if we are silent about these abominable things, then we are letting evil go unchecked, and we cannot do that. For those of you wonderful people who are writing me and are sharing your encouragement, I am deeply grateful. Thank you for all the letters that you've been sending. Thank you for the donations and the support. I found out that in order to speak the truth, you have to become very, very strong. If you would go to my website at www.lauralynn.tv, you'll find all of the ways that you can contact me.
Remember, my friends, all is well. All is well. Thanks for joining me.